Hey, my sugar bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, Jay Nicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's get to the commentary where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo?
Hey y'all, it's your girl Jay Nicole. You are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel where I say stay bougie on when I'm serving you feminism for the soul. Don't forget to check me out at them people's Instagram at OG_bougie AF. You can also check me out on them people's Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. I'm also on them people's TikTok at she bougie AF. So listen. Let's talk about what people are talking about. It's a little bit of Instagram scroll. You guys, you can see on the screen. You got here that Jeezy files for divorce from Jeannie Ma. And people get divorced every day. Every day people get divorced. But this one has been really a conversation piece where I'm actually going to review in this same video. I'm going to pull up O'Shea Du Jackson. I liked his I liked what he brought to the conversation in terms of also talking about the larger conversation of like the manosphere, the passport bros or whatever. And this whole concept or this whole thinking within black men that to date outside of your race makes things better. Like the women outside of black women are better women to marry, right? That's the reason why people are going to different countries and stuff like that. Or marrying, Asian women, Spanish women, white women, because it's literally the message is being sent to black women that, you're too masculine, you're too modern, we want more traditional women, and these women seem to be softer, seem to be, not as masculine, seem to be more based in, more resting in their femininity, and just overall more pleasant, right? Even though we consistently see that in these relationships, right, that do happen, necessarily we're not seeing like better results, right? We're still seeing people getting divorces. You've recently seen Kanye and Kim Kardashian, Michael Strahan and his ex-wife, Tay Diggs and his ex-wife. Like the divorces that happen, we see what Khloe Kardashian goes through with Tristan Thompson and Lamar Odom and how he's treated, other women outside of being black women. And we don't see like great results, right? Like nothing to make us envy as we see men like a Joe Budden who's consistently, dating, outside of black women, and that's fine. No one's mad about it. But we don't see that they're getting treated any better or they're on any pedestal that make other black women envious of them, right? Like Chris Brown. Right? He consistently dates outside of black women, even though he may date a mix. But I am really talking about traditionally, we know exotic or a very watered down version of a black woman is more or less what Chris Brown likes, right? So she could be mixed with black, but as long as she's not all black. But it's really not about like whatever your preference is. I'm not someone who's ever going to be talking about niggas' preferences or caring about a nigga's preference. But what I will say, but we see these men operate outside of dating black women, and we don't see great results, right? So we're not necessarily envious of it, because it's nothing to envy, right? Like what, getting your ass kicked, getting embarrassed, getting cheated on, humiliated, all these things that these women are experiencing at the hands of dating these black men. But it's always talked about as a way to send a message to black women, right? About the masculinity, right? About how you're too modern or you're too educated, right? There's times I was getting on Clubhouse and there was literally rooms that were talking about, oh, black women are, black men don't need you to be educated. Like what? Like you guys care more about your careers. A man doesn't care about what a woman makes. Like all of this weirdo rhetoric of just trying to put women back in this like not gonna say prehistoric, but back in this place of the woman was the man was at the head of the table because he was educated. He was the earner in the family. He what we've seen necessarily represented in like the 50s and 60s, right? That type of version of like what married life and children and all that, like stepford wife type of situation. Even though that's never been black American women's That's never been our that's never been our story, right? And I think sometimes like that whole imaging is it's so that's white people shit. Black women have always, and I mean always, and from slavery till now, there hasn't been a time that we have not worked. We've not had to contribute it to our households, right? So we've never had that luxury of like resting in our femininity, you know, if you believe in that. We had that luxury of, you go make the bacon and I stay home and take care of the kids. And because you're making so much money that, we can afford to live. We've always lived below the poverty line. Like, what part of that don't we get that we've always not brought into our homes what other groups of people have brought into their homes, white people have brought into their homes, right? So there was no luxury amongst us. And, even though there are situations and there are one offs and, where black women may have been able to stay home because their husband worked. But it was most definitely very rare, right? My grandmother, she didn't work. My grandmother didn't work. She was like a mother of nine, right? So that speaks for itself. My grandfather was a coal miner in Peoples, West Virginia. And so if you know anything about, during that time, like he made enough money, he had all these kids at home, so she couldn't work, right? But she did tell my mother that, she kind of regretted wish she would have worked because she hated having to go ask for money, right? With that being said, she had the luxury, and not even luxury, but she was able to, not have to go to work. That just was not the case for a lot of people. There weren't, like, I think people tend to think that black men had abundance of opportunities in industries, and we just really did not. What segregation? We really just did not, right? And they weren't the best paying jobs. So this whole women, well, black women are too modern nowadays. That's that we were always maids, cooks, right? Working in kitchens. Like there was all of these jobs that, black women have had to do over the years. And so it just really seems out of touch and just not historically accurate of black men and their interpretation of like what black women's role has been in society, and then most definitely been in the black community. It's always been as a helpmate, right? Like always been as a helpmate. If you watch The Butler, always as a helpmate. So I'm not quite sure what they're referring to when they try to talk about this masculinity, this too strong and all this other stuff. In every depiction of black women in history, American black women has always been of strength, has always been of a warrior in some type of form. So again, I think these are people's daydreams. I think people have bought into like the white framing of like what their life may have been, but it's never been within the black community. So with that being said, people was really interested in this Jeannie Ma and Jeezy divorce because she's not black. And y'all, or I'm not gonna say put it on Jeezy, but there's just so much emphasis. That's what I think the interest is on the fact to marry outside of the black community, you'll find or you'll be more happier, right? And we've never seen it. Like we're not seeing it now. Like even if you talk about the late great Kobe Bryant and his wife, he cheated on her. Like where are we seeing these like different results with these other women? And so that's why it's always a joke to me, because I think it's hilarious. But I also think it's the ignorance of just like some black people, and especially black men, that maybe have not left the hood, or maybe not like interacted with like white people or people outside of the black community in any meaningful way, that you would make the assumptions that these women are meek, docile, or any type of that. And that's so weird, right? Like, I grew up with white people. I grew up with white girls. And I remember there was a homegirl of mine, and she was talking about a man that she was dating at the time. She had already had one kid. But she was talking about him just not having his shit together, and that she would not, move forward until he made like real efforts to get his shit together and have something to kind of like be able to have a table to you know what I mean, for her to sit at, right? She had one kid, her father and her mother, she still lived at home at the time, and they were helping her, right? Like her father was like heavily involved in her life. helping her where her baby daddy was not like, much of a help. And I say all this to say, but when it came to like dating another man and potentially talking about marrying a man, she had some requirements, right? You need to be able to do what for me of like what my father is doing for me. Like, point period blank. Now when black women start talking like that, it's, oh, you're a gold digger, you're this and this and that. And it's sort of like, that's how I know you don't know what you're talking about. Like, in all cultures and all, like, women are most definitely groomed and taught to make sure that they are picking a suitor that can provide for them and take care of their family. Like, that's not a black or white thing. That literally crosses the spectrum of everybody, right? In every culture and society. Even if you think about Africa, when a man went to go, ask another man for his daughter's, hand in marriage, he brought him something. He was able to make sure that that father knew that he could take care of his child if he married her, right? So that's not unusual. It's just that black men want you to buy into the concept of struggle love, and that you should not be thinking strategically or making sure that you pick the best provider, or so, the best person who could be a father figure, right? You should most definitely be thinking about that. There's no reason why black women should be conditioned to think that it's your duty to deal with degeneracy. It's your duty to deal with men who have more issues than the law allows. And that's a part of what makes you a strong black woman, right? I feel sad for girls who buy into that. You are not supposed to be fixing a man in that type of way. And that's not to say that your partner has to be perfect, but you should not be stepping into a role that you're like you birthed that nigga. Like, that's just weird. It's not attractive. I don't like, how do you look at that person as somebody that you'd want to be the role model for your sons? I wouldn't want that. Sorry. If I gotta teach you how to be a man, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. That's not attractive to me. That does not make me want to submit to you at all. At all. So this story has been really interesting to see the comments and see the takes on it, and people really feeling as if though, of course it gets spun as because she's a woman, this is her second marriage. Oh, what's wrong? Something got to be wrong with her. Now there's something wrong with the outside black woman, right? The outside of blackness woman, right? Something wrong with her now. He divorcing you. What's wrong with you? Why you can't keep a husband? Now all of a sudden, why can't she keep a husband? But before, the perception of black men who've never dealt with women, a lot of women outside of black women, y'all just assume this about white women, Spanish women, and Asian women. They're not weak, docile women. Like, that's weird that you think that. Right, there's so many times I've watched YouTube clips. It's like, yeah, I'm not quite sure like why y'all think that dating us is a different experience and all this other stuff. If anything, they're just not gonna baby you like I think you expect black women to baby you. And it's even weird that I feel like y'all try to step up even more into like your manhood when it comes to dating outside of black women, where black women allow you guys to, behave like children. And we think it's our job to cover for you because you're a man. And so to keep your manhood intact, it's don't degrade, don't make him feel lesser than a man. Don't tell him he's wrong when he's wrong. All of this like weird shit that speaks to fragile masculinity. Right, but so let's get into this story. Oops, Jeezy files for divorce from Jeannie Ma. So let's see the story. Neighbors, get into this. It seems like everybody's breaking up. Child. According to Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Jeezy House filed for divorce from Jeannie Ma. The filing was placed on Thursday in the Fulton County Superior Court. And just to remind y'all, it's Saturday, so they already got this. Like, they literally probably have people at the court just like on payrolls calling in when they see certain names, because this is crazy. According to the docs, the couple has already been separated for some time, so this is the next step. He is requesting joint custody of their 1-year-old daughter. There are prenuptial agreements in place. Wow, we didn't see this one coming at all. Thoughts, neighbors. Oh, y'all know I love a good juicy comment section. Let's see what they saying. Let's see. And then we're gonna get into O'Shea Duke Jackson because, like I said, I think he did a great job of talking about past book bros and why black men make this mistake of like marrying outside of black women and just thinking it's going to be perfect or they're getting something different. Women are women. um, the song is wild. What song is she talking about? Tuh. But he got mad at me and blocked me when I called him out on this relationship. Seen this coming a mile away. You got your weight up, money up, okay, and dropped us. Nothing like a sister, my boy. Now we don't want you back. Next. Yeah, black women are really not stunting the men that do this. Like we're just like, okay, girl, like if you want them, like where do I send them? What do Stop letting social media make y'all think it's all pretty. Behind closed doors, they life be in shambles. That's a fact. Like ours sometimes worse. Facts. That's why it's important to mind the business that pays you. Have a good evening. Jeezy got tired of being treated like a side dish. I mean, she did make a comment about something, but we'll see that later. That's what happens when you hurry up and buy. Ooh, shit. Are we supposed to act surprised after all the things she said? And this his problem. None of us coming close to her. Uh, no, I was actually rooting for them. Their connection seemed so genuine and loving. This is so sad. This is sad news, man. Damn Usher know he can make a damn good ass song. I'm not sure what Usher has to do with it. Really was rooting for them. This actually is why she didn't want kids. He left her a single mama already. Oh. I only like dark meat on the side, and white meat keeps me lean and right. I don't know how a brother would date this woman. Shit wild. Oh, so that's the comment she made one day on the real. And like I said, I do believe that like I said, people make I'm gonna say a lot of stupid shit on these mics sometimes. Um and she said she liked her dark meat on the side. And I think she was just trying to be funny. And I think people have taken it way too serious. But bye bye, Miss Ma. Somebody said, what, fo? Oh, I can hear them folks now. Yo, you let a black man make you a baby mama. He leave you. He leave you with baby. He leave you. If you read this in the voice I wrote it in, come have a seat next to, because hell finna be hot. I like this person. Amnestis Rain. They're basically the same if you read it like an Asian person. He leave you with baby. If you read that with the voice I wrote it in. I guess hell is hot, I guess. Because I most definitely read it that way. Now she a BM and people are laughing. I don't know why people think that's funny. That's weird to me. But let's get into this video. So this is O'Shea Duke Jackson's his critique or his opinion on it. I thought it was really interesting and I wanted to share it with you guys.
Was called Just Stop Dating in the US Altogether for content. And then I get an email from somebody that's on TikTok and they send me this link, and the content creator is Austin Holloman. Now, back at this time, he was fairly unknown, unlike today. But this is the video that made him big. And the video that made him big was called Just Stop Dating in the US Altogether.
Guys, look, stop. I'm just going to go ahead and say this because I've had enough of this reading the comments and just talking and seeing that nobody's going to change. Nobody's even going to get the message. Stop dating women in the United States altogether. I know I said stop. Don't marry a woman. Don't even with them at all now, okay? Because the thing is, nobody's gonna change, right? Nobody's even gonna try to compromise, okay? They think that you want to control them because you ask them to sweep the floor in the same house that they live in. And at the end of the day, I was told that, hey, Austin, you're just going through a phase. But let me ask you this. What are you getting out of dating a woman from the United States? You go to these other countries, you experience these women that treat you like you are somebody, like a real human, to be honest.
Now, you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with Jeannie, Mai, and Jeezy? Just sit tight. I'm going to explain. If you heard that video, he never called out any particular race. He didn't call out black women. He didn't call out white women. He didn't call out Asian women. He believes this is a systemic problem altogether with American women. And this is why passport bros became so hot, even amongst non-black men, because they started to see the issue. Fast forward, Dima. Now, I want to kind of get into this whole idea of black men and interracial dating. And that is something that we have seen throughout the country a lot, especially in the last 20 years. And there are some myths in the game that cannot be denied. And one of the myths is that black men and Asian women are a perfect match. For the most part, Asian women are very feminine and submissive, and black men tend to be more dominant and masculine, and they make a good couple when you combine both. That's kind of how black men have looked at Asian women, even in the United States. They are going to be, on average, more submissive than white women or even black women. But then there's a particular podcast, Girls Gone Wireless Pod, and they put up a YouTube short called Do Black Guys Love Asian Women? This is interesting. Let's check it out.
All black guys like Asian girls.
Okay, let's hear this theory. All black guys like Asian girls.
Because their dicks are bigger and our p***s are tighter. And black guys like to dominate a lot. They like to get their dicks squeezed really hard by Asian girls.
Name some black and Asian couples, though. I don't really know of any.
Chris Brown was with an Asian girl.
What Asian girl?
She was like black and Asian.
What black guy is with a full Asian girl?
Like a successful Asian girl relationship.
Yeah.
You see, I don't think it ever works out long term. I think the theory is like they just want to the Asian girls. They can't ever trap the Asian girls because the Asian girls are always going to want something else.
But did you guys hear that at the end of the clip? They said something very important. Asian women and black men don't work out because Asian women are not really interested in black men long term. They just want to copulate the girls, but that's pretty much it. And Asian girls always want something else. Rewind demo. That takes us to Jeannie Mai. Now, Jeannie Mai is a TV show host. She's in the entertainment industry. And for those of you who know Jeannie Mai, she was married previously to a white man. I believe it's Fred Hartis is his name. And again, there was a very controversial clip on The Real that she talked about that while she's married and she likes black men, she likes her dark meat on the side. And she had to actually end up apologizing for that.
So we all know, and just like Freddie has a preference, I have a preference.
Get
we
to
both
it.
married each other out of pure love. Like he likes white women, blonde hair, blue eyes.
And you like black rappers.
I like a good brother. I do. I think they're cute.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I said on this show that somebody said white meat somewhere, and I was like, yeah, I like white meat, but I like my dark meat on the side.
Yeah, you
right?
did say that. Yes, you did.
Despite that controversy, Jeezy married her anyway. He was so happy that she was going to be his bride that Jeezy made this video.
I had some friends tell me, yeah, man, like that's gonna be the moment. And I just remember locking eyes with her and just going like, wow, you know, we had an amazing time getting to know each other. And she's amazing. Like she's a wonderful person inside and out. And I was like, you know, wow, like, you know, when we first started dating, I knew this would happen. And I didn't know you was gonna look this beautiful. And you know, it was just a real moment being in front of fans. I mean, with friends and family, close friends, and just seeing my dad happy and just knowing that, you know, my sister and her parents was there, and her close friends, my close friends, and them actually seeing, you know, us just taking this next chapter and writing this amazing book. So yeah, I was seeing her walk down that aisle was a real thing.
But again, I want to go back to Asian women being feminine. And again, what a lot of black men don't understand is that just because Asian women are Asian and they're growing up in America and they might be different from black women, it doesn't mean that they're feminine. And here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Pretty much every time I met a black man, he thought it would be a flex to say something like, yeah, I like my women foreign. I like my women exotic. And I don't know why they decided to say that to me, if they thought it would make me feel good or something, but for me, it's always a red flag. And so I would dig in a little bit further and say, well, what do you mean by that? Like, because I'm a white girl on the inside. My family is white. I grew up in a white community in a small town in the Midwest. So I might look exotic, but I'm Wonder Bread white on the inside. So anyway, whenever these guys would say this, I'd be like, well, you're about to be in for a big disappointment if you're expecting a submissive, docile Asian to take care of you.
Jeezy ends up filing.
She is funny as fuck. I'm going to find her on the TikTok. I like her attitude and everything about her. Because it literally is like, I've talked to white women about this, like especially the ones that I've grown up with, and they're quite aware that there are just men out there who think that they are just a walk in the park, and so they try to date them thinking that they'll be, you know, able to get away with their bullshit, and they're just like, no, like we have requirements and there's things that we're looking for. Like, we're not trying to like take care of you and all that other shit you're looking for in terms of like your mom and a wife. Like, they don't find that shit attractive. They don't want to be with that either. So it's weird that y'all that even black men think that this is like a thing, but she's 100% right. It's a red flag for them. They literally know that like you're with them because you have a weird perception of like what they're like because of your lack of exposure to different cultures and stuff like that. You just assume that these women would be more docile. Now, the women that I think they're actually that they're looking for, that are more docile, meek, and just not as boisterous and all this other stuff, are usually women who come from like third world nations, right? Like countries. And so they're like a prize to these women and from those type of countries. And so those type of countries would be like women like in like where's somewhere they go, Taiwan, or countries in South America, like really poor countries in South America. But they're not women in developed countries, right? Like, even when you talk about, I think he mentioned in this video, I'm not sure, European women, they're very much modern women like the women in America. So it's not necessarily a place type of thing, but more of a socioeconomic thing. And so the poorer that someone or a country that one of these women come from, the more docile and meek and more traditional than she would be, because you are a lick, you are a come up, right? You're a way to change her life, right? So listening to you and all the other stuff is way different than women in modern societies that have to get up and go to work, also have to bring the bacon to the table, right? So just two different completely attitudes in the way that you like are living life. So that's weird. This is weird. This is why I really don't do the relationship talk, because I just think it's just men like just making up shit and just their dreams
For divorce, and there are many people out there speculating why that is. People are saying that she cheated on him with a white man, most notably the white ex-husband that she had. People are saying all sorts of things, and he hasn't said that. He hasn't said anything. We just know that he filed for divorce, and he filed for divorce after 2.5 years, even after they sired a daughter. And that is actually pretty sad, you know, knowing that the couple married in March of 2021.
Their baby is so cute though. Oh.
But I believe I want to go back to Austin Holloman's initial point that you're just not getting the respect in America. And despite Jeezy being the man he is, he felt somehow he was dealing with a modern woman. And at 44, she wasn't going to change. So he filed for divorce and also dual custody or joint custody of the daughter, even after, you know, finding a woman that he felt that he could marry. She was from the Asian community and all of this. And, you know, there's not any infidelity from what I understand or what the blogs are saying. We don't know.
I love her style. That dress is beautiful. That is a beautiful dress. That is a beautiful dress. I love that head thing that she has on. Very glamorous. Oh my God, I love it.
Why? They cannot reconcile this marriage. And one of the reasons why they can't reconcile the
I love the design here. I hope y'all can tell. I really like nice, beautiful things. Oh, this is so dope. And oh, I love it. She has great style. I think she was like on the Style Network and something like that.
Marriage is because he felt disrespected. And this is what a lot of guys need to understand, because a lot of ladies who come up in America, you know, they're going to look at relationships very differently than somebody who comes up in an Asian country.
So even though I'm paying attention to the fashion and kind of not talking about what O'Shea is talking about, but he just mentioned something about feeling disrespected, and it's so weird because within Black men, I just think y'all are just way too fragile, right? And even saying the word disrespected, I wonder sometimes, are we talking about true disrespect, or are we talking about something that may have hurt your feelings, right? And I think a lot of times people think that if it hurts my feelings, then you've disrespected me, and that necessarily is not always the case, right? There's a lot of Black men that will sometimes I know of a Black man who tries to imply that I disrespected him, or I disrespect Black men or something like that. And it literally, because if you just tell them that they're wrong, right? If you just point out that they don't make sense, or you literally just do better than them, they feel some sort of way about it and they interpret it as disrespect. That doesn't mean that is disrespect. That's your insecurity. And Black men even saying that is disrespectful, right? Because now you're that type of Black woman that, you know, wants to go around and point out men's insecurities and make them feel some sort of way. And it's sort of like, no, when your insecurities is dictating environments and making things uncomfortable and causing issues, yes, it does most definitely need to be pointed out in that way. Same way, if my insecurities was, you know, causing problems and it caused me to feel as if though something is being done to me that's not actually being done, right? And that's essentially what it is, right? I'm trying to think of times, like, okay, so there was this time I was in this I was with this radio station, and there was this Black guy, and he was in leadership within the radio station, and he would be so offended if he would say something and make a point, and then I would say something and make a point, and I did not agree with him. For him, that's disrespect. I don't know. I don't come from that. I don't come from those type of environments where you just, how can I say? Because I grew up where I grew up at, right? And naturally, you had conversations, you had discussions, you had disagreements, you could talk about different topics, you would, you know, share your opinions, and that person share their opinions and not feel disrespected. And I'm talking about, you know, boys and, you know, growing up, and they were socialized to understand, like, you know, everything can't go your way. It's completely different to interact with a group of, or be around a group of people who have not been socialized or grew up in that type of environment. And I do think when you start talking about like critically thinking and the ability to think, all of that went into my ability to critically think about things and questions and stuff like that, because that's my upbringing and my community, they fostered that. Like that was an everyday part of like my life. I do think a lot of times within the Black communities, and I can see probably it being prevalent in urban communities, that these kids don't ask a lot of questions, you know, don't feel comfortable with talking about things or expressing themselves, their feelings and stuff like that. And so a lot does not get addressed. And so they've not been in a lot of places where someone saying they don't like something is not necessarily hating, right? Or someone having an opinion is not necessarily hating. And I just think when you do come from stifled environments like that, or where people are not getting a great education, I think some of those ways of thinking develop, and you tend to move out through life and look at people in a way that is very skewed and very, I hate to say, ignorant, because that's what that is, right? Like a difference of opinion. And we see it on Clubhouse, right? Because we see how that difference of opinion, or how enemies are created and how people feel some sort of way. And it's sort of like, because you're wrong? What? or because I stand out more than you. Like now we're in this weird competition. And that's just weird. Like that's very degenerative, and I hate to say that. Like I have an ex-friend right now, and it's sort of like, baby, for me to be in competition, I've had to be speaking on you. I've had to feel some sort of way about you, like, and if I've never felt that way, we're not competing. But even in so, like, I don't look at or get in relationships or be around people, and especially friends, and feel like we're competing against each other. That's some ignorant as fuck shit. And so there's so much of that going on. And it's why there's not a lot of collaboration a lot of times within the Black community, because I don't like that energy, right? I don't, and competing is something that I think you do with someone that's not on the same team as you, right? Competing is something you do with, you sign up and you're on the track, and we standing up again, next to each other, and we're going to run. Like that's a form of competing, but just existing and me doing me and you doing you, and whatever makes you happy, whatever makes me happy. But me living my life and doing me, something that I was doing before you came along, it's not me trying to compete with you. And it feels real, I get infuriated of even having to discuss it, because it's so fucking ignorant. It is so fucking ignorant to me that it blows my mind. But it blows it, like, the weirdest things is interpreted as competing or trying to make someone feel a sort of way. And it's sort of like, I don't even need to talk to you. And that's why I tell people all the time, I don't have I don't have the spirit of correction. I don't have the spirit of teaching. Only because I just realized that the people's sensitivities cannot handle correction, right? People's sensitivities cannot handle teaching, because they have all of this, oh, who do you think you are? You ain't got this and this and that. And I'm like, okay, I don't. But don't be mad or don't feel away because I may know better and I choose not to say nothing. You have to be open to be taught, to be shown. And I believe a fool can teach me. A fool can teach me. I am not someone who is unteachable. A fool can teach me. And some people don't have that quality because they're too busy trying to be offended about someone trying to tell them, or taking it too personal as if though they're being attacked by someone saying that there's a right way or there's a better way or there's something that you may not know. And nobody got time for that. I don't care how selfish that sounds. Nobody has time for that.
Country, or who comes up in Africa, or who comes up in a part of Europe. And what happens is that the American society in which we come up in, when it comes to women, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but for what a man needs in a relationship, it might not be it. Now, just understand that she was married to a white guy for 12 years, and maybe Jeezy thought that it was going to be different for him, and it was not. And now this is her second marriage that's failed in the last 5 years. It says a lot about her, and maybe she has career aspirations. She maybe doesn't want to be a wife. I'm not sure. But the reality is, this is telling. It's telling a lot of men, especially black men, that, hey, it's just not a white woman in America that can make you happy, or an Asian woman, or even a black woman. I believe that what most men are looking at is we're dealing with a certain mentality. So guys, if I get more information on actually what happened, I will keep you posted. But what did you think of the video? Subscribe at the...
I will say this though, even though I fuck with O'Shea Du Jackson, there's a lot of, is your cousin named Reach, and you got two cousins named Reach and Stretch, because there was some, like, this is very telling, she probably, her career, she probably didn't want to be married. There's a whole lot of assumptions being made in this video from O'Shea. And it's no pushback on, like, just because Jeezy filed does not mean that he may not be the problem, right? But there was no talk of potentially him being a problem. And it was all talk about her, and the fact that she was previously married. I'm not quite sure, like, why is that a ding on her where they got divorced, because at the time, he wanted kids, and she, they had gotten married. When they got married, they didn't want kids. Like, her and her ex-husband, they did not want kids. Over time, he developed into wanting kids. And so she just was not at that place where she wanted kids. So that, I think he allegedly, if you do the math, you can tell he was like cheating on her. And it led to their divorce. So I'm not quite sure why that situation has become a negative marker on who she is, as a person, as a wife. And there's no negative dings being made or assumptions being made about young Jeezy. Why can't it be that the nigga, is a street nigga? And I'm just making assumptions off of what we know about him. And maybe he's not a good husband, right? Maybe he's not good with sharing his feelings and expressing himself and being vulnerable within his relationship. Like, we could make all types of assumptions based off previous things that we know. I mean, we remember him in his relationship with Keisha Cole, and that didn't end up great. It's alleged that, he was a fucked up dude or something happened between them. So all I'm saying all of this to say, none of that got brought up to look at the situation in a way that could imply that we just don't know, right? And to say all that, I feel like you said in this video, O'Shea, and then to end it with, well, I really don't know, but looking at it, we can make these assumptions. And if I find more, I'll come back and update. Well, they didn't leave a lot of room to, you didn't leave it very open, and objective, to have, you could have had a very objective view where it could be said, we don't know what the problem is, and they both could have played a hand at it. But I did like the conversation around it, tying in the past book bros and stuff like that. Only because, like I said, this is an interesting conversation within the Black community, because there's so much emphasis of dating outside of Black women and it being better. And so when you see that it's never better, these motherfuckers still getting divorced. These motherfuckers are still committing domestic violence and cheating and all this other, behavior is still happening with their dream women, the betters, right? We'll just call them the betters, right? And so, yeah, it's nothing to be jealous of. It's nothing for us as Black women to feel some sort of way about it, because it's sort of like, girl, you keep that, okay? We're all set. We are all set on the Lamar Odoms, right? We're very much all set. We're very much all set on the Chris Browns, right? We're very much all set on those type of men, right? They're still trash. Tristan Thompson, very much all set, right? On the Kanye's, right? He knows what Black woman's dating him? Like, right? Your wife is complaining about your body odor and all types of weirdo shit. Like, you literally have to, allow you to control a woman to be, all types of weirdo shit. They get money and be weird. They get money and start acting weird. So, with that being said, that's all I got to say on this. Y'all know how we do it here. We keep it bougie SF. We keep it posh SF. We keep it Black SF. And we keep being blessed SF. And y'all be black, y'all. And I am out. Bye.